So we'll be talking about page layout, right? All right. So in page layout, basically we will see how we can actually customize the user interface. You know how the end users see the records. It's pretty simple. You must have seen that every time you open a record, it opens in a particular layout. So there are a few fields displayed, and then there is this order of fields, which all fields are being displayed. So what do you see on a page? You know, a detailed page of a record. We see the fields. You see the fields, field values. You see some buttons. Then you see the related lists. So what is a related list? Related list basically is the list of child records. So if you are on an account and if there are multiple contacts for that account, those will be displayed as the list of child records, right? So that's what related list is. So these are the things that we see on the page, on a Salesforce standard page, right? Whenever you open a record. So just give me a moment, let me show it to you. If I click on an account and if I click on one of the account records, see, we get to see the fields, we get to see the buttons, and we also see the related list, right? So in the related list, contacts, opportunities, so whatever objects are related to that particular record, those object list will be displayed, right? Now in Salesforce, you have the option of page layout. What a page layout does is, page layout actually allows you to edit the layout of the page. Okay, what all fields you want to see. So what all things can we control on a page layout? One is fields and their placement on the page. So that's something which you can control. Which fields you want to display on the page and where do you want to place those fields. So which field should come in the top? Like currently I can see the phone number here. If I want phone number somewhere here and if I want the website at the top, then what do I do? So that's something which you can do from page layout. Okay. Second is you can remove some fields. Third is you can make the fields required or read only depending on your requirement. You can make the fields required or read only. Okay, so that's something which can be done. Apart from that, you also have the option of working with the related list. Okay, so you can set the order of related lists. Order of related list means if I want some related, right now contact is at the top. If I want opportunities to be at the top, that's something which can be controlled from here. Remove the related lists, and you can also decide on what all fields will be displayed in the related list. Fields to be displayed on related list. Right. So we have all these options. We have the fields and their placement on the page. We can remove some fields. We can make fields required. We can make fields read only. We can set the order of the related list. We can remove the related list if we don't want to show it to the end user. And we also can control what all fields will be displayed on the related list. Alright, so all these things can be done through page layout. So let me just quickly go to a page layout and see how we can do all these things. Just go to setup. Under setup, you have to Go to customize because I'm talking about account objects. So under a customize account, you will have the option of page layouts. Click on this. Okay. So you have multiple page layouts. Currently the page layout which is being used is account layout. I'll just click on edit on this. I'll come to the multiple page layout concept after some time. So this is the page layout, right? This is the one that I want to edit. Now this is the screen where you can actually control the page layout and all these options. Okay. Is there a lag in the screen update?
Yes, Jit.
Okay. Everyone facing that same issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just give me one moment then. Okay. So everything is on the screen. This is just controlled from the user interface. You don't want to see a field, you just go and click on the remove button beside that field. You want to change the order of the field, website you want to take it at the top, just drag and take it at the top. That's it. So it's that simple. You really don't have to do anything. You just decide how you want to display the data, and you just can control the fields. If you don't want certain fields on the page layout, just remove them. Alright? So that's how simple it is. Now how do you make a field required or read only? Setting the order of the fields and removing the fields is fine. How do I make a field required? You can make a field required by going to that field, and on the field itself you will see at the right hand side you have a properties icon, that wrench icon. Just click on that. Click on that and it will give you the option of making the field read only or required. So you can make a field required from here as well. We have earlier seen that we have an option of making the field required from the while you create the field. Now you have an option of making
The
the field
screen is not
required
moving
here.
at all.
Sorry.
The screen was not moving at all. I couldn't see what you were doing on the screen.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So this is what we are able to do through the page layout. Let me come back to this once again. So this is what we are able to do through the page layout. We can control the placement of the fields on the page. We can remove some of the fields. We can make the fields required or read only. Okay. So first of all, let's deal with the fields. So once you are on the page layout of a certain object, you have the option of going and controlling it. It's just a drag and drop option. You can hold any of the field and you can drag it to wherever you want. All right. Now, the next option is, when you are on a certain field, you have on the right hand side, you have two icons. One is to remove it, one is the properties icon. Okay. If you click on remove, the field will be removed. Okay. Once you've removed the field, if you want the field back, you can always take it from the top. At the top you can see that all the fields are listed here. If you remove a certain field and you want it back, you can always get it from here. Properties will allow you to make the field read only or required. Okay, so once you are on the properties, you can make the field read only or required. All right, so we have another option of making field required from the while creating the field. If you guys remember, while creating the field, you must have had seen a checkbox which says you want to make the field required or not, right? So this is another option of making the field required. Now coming to the related list part. Now in the related list, if you scroll down a little on this page layout, you will see the related lists are also there. Contacts, opportunities, cases, right? Here also it's a matter of drag and drop. If you want opportunities to be at top, you just have to catch hold of opportunity and bring it at the top. That's how you can set the order of the related list. If you don't want to see some of the related list, you can just go and remove the related list from here. That's it. If I don't want to see the related list, I just have to click on that remove button here. All right. So for related list also, you can set the order of the related list on a certain record, and you can remove the related list if you don't want some of them. Okay. Now there is another option of controlling what all fields you want to see under the related list. For example, on an account page, I can see the contacts. Think about it. You can see the contacts under account page, right? Sometimes you might want to control what all fields from contact you want to see. Do you want to see the first name of the contact, last name of the contact, email ID, phone number, mobile number, birth date, what all fields you want to see. So for doing that, you just have to go and click on the related list properties icon. So beside the related list also you have the properties icon. So you just have to click on the properties icon, and from there you will see a list of all the available fields, and you have to select which all fields you want, right? So it depends. If my sales team says that under account I want to see the mobile number of the contact, I should make the mobile number available there. If he says that no, I just want to check whether email ID is there or not, so I should make email ID available, right? Depending on the requirement. Or if there is some other field which is very important for them and they just want to have a quick look into that field, we can make that particular field available there. Got it? So that ways. Clear? So from here you can move some of the fields. If you want to see the birth date, okay, put the birth date here, or whichever field for that matter you need. Right? So this is what a page layout will allow you to do. Will allow you to control the fields and the related list. Alright, that's point number one. Now, coming to the second point, we saw that we had multiple page layouts for account. Now, I want one of you to tell me what can the use of multiple page layout for the same object. Why would I need multiple page layouts for same object? Can you think of the requirement of that? Can you think of why it will be
Maybe
required?
for different user groups.
Sorry, for different?
It could be for different user groups.
For different user groups, or to make it more precise, let's say for different profiles. Okay, here let's consider user group as profile. Absolutely correct. So sometimes what may happen that you might have the requirement of displaying the data in a different format to different uh, profiles. Okay, for example, sales team wants to see the phone number at the top. Let's say a customer support team says that no, don't want to see the phone number. I don't need phone number. I want other details like, let's say, the industry, type, number of employees, these kind of information at the top. I don't want to see the phone number. Customer support team might say that, right? So in that case, you have two different types of users, and they need different type of page layout. So that multiple page layout is for that purpose only. So if you go to any objects page layouts, you will see for the standard objects, you already have multiple page layouts. All right. You also have the option of creating your own page layout. So it's just a matter of just clicking on new and creating a page layout. Give it a name. Clone it from an existing page layout, and give it your name and make it and save it. Right. So you have created your own page layout. You can control now what you want to display, where you want to display everything on this page layout. Right. Now, the reason, as I told you earlier, the reason will be that if different profile users want to see different page layouts, then I will need this. If everyone in the company is fine with one single layout, you don't even need multiple page layouts. Like for all standard objects, you will have multiple page layouts by default because Salesforce.com has created that. Okay. For custom objects, you get one page layout by default. If you want more, you have to create. Okay, for all custom objects, the objects that you create, by default you will receive one page layout, and if you need more, you have to create. How do you assign the page layout to the profiles? Page layout need to be assigned to the profiles. Okay, so if you go to the list of page layouts, beside this new button, there is another button called page layout assignment. If you click on this, if you click on page layout assignment, you will have the option of assigning different page layouts to different profiles. See, all the profiles are listed for which profile. Let's say for standard user, I want to edit the page layout. So you just need to click on edit assignment and click on the standard user to change the page layout. So this is the page layout I want to assign to standard user. So that correct. So now it's not just a matter of displaying the fields. It's also a matter of making a certain fields required for a certain user and not required for another set of users. Got it? So for example, if I have a sales team and if I have a senior management team, right? When a sales team is entering a record, I want the sales team to make sure that they enter the phone number. But at the same time, if the senior management person is entering a record, I don't want to make the phone number field mandatory. Maybe the requirement, right? That's one group of user when they enter the record, the fields, certain fields will be required because we want them to take the phone number from the client and enter it. But if let's say the senior management person is entering, and for him we want to give him the liberty that okay, fine, you just enter the record, even if you don't have phone number, no problem, someone else will do it for you. Now, what you can do on one page layout, you can make the field phone number field required. On other page layout, you can make the phone number field not required, and then assign these two different page layouts to two different profiles. Got it? Make sense? So this way, you will have the option of, so all these things you can basically do for, uh, different page layouts or different profiles. For example, when I say we can control the related list, my sales team might be more interested in looking the opportunities related list because their job is to work with the opportunities. They go to an account and at the top they would want to see what? They would want to see opportunities. At the same time, a customer support team will be interested in which data. If there is a customer support team, what data you think they will be interested in? What related list will make more sense to them?
Case, I guess.
Cases, right? They're not interested in what opportunity and all, right? Or they might not want to see opportunities at all. Doesn't make sense for them to look into opportunities because they're just going to work on the cases, right? So the same way, you can control the related list also for different profiles. Okay, but again, having said that, multiple page layouts will come into picture only if you have these kind of requirements that different set of users need different sort of page layouts. All right. Okay. So that's about the page layout concept. Now there is a small concept that I want you to understand. The required field concept. Okay. So while we are talking about making a field required field means mandatory field. So far, what you have seen is you can make a field required while creating the field. There is an option, right? Required field is an attribute of the field. So you can check that checkbox and the field becomes required. Second is you can make a field required on page layout, something that we saw today. Do you think there is a difference between making a field required while you create the field and making a field required on the page layout? Do you think there is a difference between these two required fields? If someone makes a field required at the time of creating it, and if someone makes a field required on the page layout, do you think there is a difference between these two required?
Yeah, if we'll make it required on the page layout, this will be required for every profile, like whichever profile that layout is assigned. But if we are making it while creating the field for that object, it would be required for that specific object only.
Half answer was correct. The second half was not that correct. So let me put it. Let me just a field which is made required at the time of creating it is known as universally required, which means it becomes automatically required for everyone, no matter who is creating the record. Right? Doesn't matter what is the profile. It is a universally required field. Okay? Required only for profiles using the page layout. This should actually help you understand. When you make a field required on a page layout, that field becomes required only for the people who have been assigned that page layout. But a field, if when made required at the field level as an attribute, it becomes universally required, which means it will be required for everyone, no matter whether is this guy is a sales guy, marketing guy, customer support, senior manager, no problem. No, it doesn't matter. It becomes required for everyone everywhere. On the other hand, a field which is required for made required on a certain page layout, that field is required only on that page layout. Simple, right? If I make a field required, if I have three page layouts and I've made a field required on page number one, page number two, page number three, it is still not required. Got it? So that is the point. So that's one. Second difference between these two is a field which is made required on the page layout. If a field is made required on the page layout, it will be considered a required field only if the data is being entered through that page layout, which means someone is manually entering the data from using that page layout, right? If I just make a field required on a certain page layout, let's say page layout 1 or account layout, that you know the field will be required only if I am using that page layout to enter the data. This is the page layout. Okay, if I make phone number field required, it will become required only when I am using this page layout, right? What happens when you are trying to import the data through data loader? When you're using, when you're entering the data through data loader, does that do the insert using the page layout? No, right? In that case, the page layout is not being used. So if you make a field required on a page layout, it will be only required when someone enters manually through page layout. Okay, it will not be required for the data loader part. But if you make a field required at the time of creating it, the field will be again, as I said, universally required, no matter whether you are entering the data manually or you are updating it through, or you are entering it through some program or you are entering it through the data loader, it is going to be required every time. Here, does it make sense? Let me know if anyone has any question or doubt on these concepts.
Check.
Yeah, just give me one moment. So the next concept is of a record type. Okay, we have talked about page layout and all. So for some time, just come out of the page layout thing. Let's talk about the record type. What is a record type? Record type is basically if you have two different types of record in the same object. Okay, if you have two different types of records in the same object. Okay. Hmm. Think about it. I mean, for example, if you are running an agency, simple example I will give. If you are running an agency, and you your business is basically to uh, take a buyer, take a seller, and help them do the deal, and you take some incentive out of that. Okay. So for you, buyer is also an account, seller is also an account. Correct. Now for buyer, you might need a different set of information. For a seller, you might need a different sort of information. May happen, but both of them are accounts for you. Correct. Now this kind of a requirement. Now, though both of them are accounts, it does not make sense for me to create two different tables, one for buyer, one for seller. It does not make sense for me to do that. But I'm also not able to manage with one single table because I need some different field set, set of fields for buyer, and I need a different set of fields for sellers. Got it? Same way, think about it. If your company is working on projects, let's say you are in an object, you want to manage the projects that you are working on. In the project, you can have two types of projects. One can be your internal projects, in-house projects. One can be the client projects. Okay. Now it does not make sense for you to actually go ahead and create two different objects, one object for internal project, one object for client project. Most of the fields are going to be same, like project start date, priority, expected end date, most of the fields are going to be same. Some fields are going to be different, right? Like your internal project may have, some information like who is actually leading that project or something like that. For the client project, you might need some additional fields like what is the budget, who is the client, how much payment has come, when is the due date for the payment. So these kind of information is not actually associated for your internal project, right? So whenever you have this kind of requirement, where you have two different types of records which need to be saved. So basically types of record, when I am saying that your records need different set of fields. Okay, and it's not that different also that I would actually go ahead and create two different objects. In that case, I can use record types. All right, in this kind of a scenario, you can use record types. A simple example of record type is, very much used example is person account. So what's a person account? Person account is basically, so far we have been working with account, and every time we are using a business account. For example, if I am offering some service, let's say, take my example, I'm doing training. I can do training for companies and I can do it for individuals, right? When I'm doing it for a company, for example, there's an account. If I do a training for IBM, okay? If I'm doing a training for IBM, what all information I need to store? Name of the company, industry, number of employees, revenue, maybe the billing address, shipping address in case required, website, phone number, fax number. These are the information that I need. When at the same time, if I'm doing a training for an individual, if an individual is an account, what all information do I need to store? First name, last name, email address. I don't need a website. For an individual, I'll not have website. I'll have email address in that case. But for company, I'll not have email address. I'll have website. Correct. I will have mobile number for individual. I might have some information like in which company that individual is working. Things like this, right? So different set of fields, but both of them are account, right? So this is one very commonly used example of record type. So person account is one thing. So sometimes, the companies which do business with both, they need to have business accounts and person accounts. The business account will be the record type here. You can store information related to business. Person account will be the record type where you can store information related to individual, right? Okay. So how do we create the record type? If I have the requirement of record types, what I can do is, all that I need to do is, I just need to go ahead and create the record types. Okay. We have a project manager. Let's develop the record type for the projects, as we said. So you just have to go to setup, and then you have to go to create projects, create objects, go to project, object, and you have to create the record types here. Okay, towards the end you will see record types. Currently there are no record types, which means all records are same. Okay, I just want two record types: internal project, and I will say client project. So while you are creating a record type, you also have the option to select that which all profiles will have this record type enabled. I'm enabling it for everyone for now.
Jeet, what was the master in the drop down when you
Currently, currently that those records which are master, they will be converted into this particular record type. So initially there is no record type, so everything is master basically. So there is only one record type, which is master. All right. Now internal project is one record type which I have created. Now let me go and create another record type on the same object project. See, existing record type is master, no? That's what we're saying. Okay. One more is going to be client projects. There is a client project record type. Enable this also for all the profiles and activate it. We made it active. We do next. So you create two different record types now. You have created two different record types. Internal project and client project. Now try to create a project record. Click on new. It's going to ask you, do you want to create an internal project or client project? Correct? Okay. But what I've done here is I've just created the record types. Ultimately, both of them are going to take me to the same page. In internal project, what I want fields like for internal project, let's say I want the page layout which will display fields like name of the project, start date, end date, priority. Okay, let's say these are the fields that I need for internal project. For client project, I need these fields plus a few more fields. Let's say budget, client name, uh, billing info, billing address or something like that. Okay. Now, don't you see, this is this to be similar to the page layout concept. All that you have to do is you just have to create a separate page layout for this record type. You have to create these fields. You should have these fields inside this project object. Okay, I would want you guys to go back and do this on your own. So basically all that you need is you have to create these fields, but these fields should not appear when someone is trying to create an internal project. So actually what are we doing? The field is there in the object, but I'm not displaying it when someone selects internal project. I'm actually just playing around with the page layouts. We saw that in the page layout, right? Now if I create two different page layouts for this, one internal project page layout, and I provide these fields in that, only these fields, and I don't display any other field. And if I create a page layout for client project and show these fields, my job is done, right? Okay. So let me just go ahead and create one more field in this object. I'll create budget. So budget is already there. Okay, so the field is already there. For internal project, I don't want to show this field, budget, and I don't want to show the client name also in case. Yeah, but this is a master detail, so this is more and more of a mandatory. But okay, let me just work with the budget part only. I don't want to show the budget thing in the internal project. So all that I need to do is I just need to go ahead and create a separate page layout. So one page layout is already there. Create a new page layout. Internal project layout. In this internal project page layout, I will remove the budget field. Budget and cost. You don't need this. Save this. Okay, so now I have two layouts. One is the normal layout and one is the internal project layout. The normal one I'm going to use for the client project, and the internal project layout which we created, we are going to use it for internal project. Before we can do that, before we can actually see the output, you also have to assign the page layout to the record types. That will be done under the record types. Now you have the page layouts also ready. Now under the record types, you have to go and do the page layout assignment. Under the record type, it's not under the page layout, it's under record types. Here, see, you have the option of selecting which page layout you want to display for which record type. For internal project, currently project layout is being used. This I don't want. Click on edit assignment. So for this entire internal project, I want to change the page layout to internal project layout. So for all the profiles, I've made it a different page layout. I'll just save it. Got it. Now for client project, it's the normal layout that will open. For internal project is the other one that we have created where I have removed the budget and actual cost. Now go to project, click on new. If you select client project and say continue, you get to see the normal layout which has budget, actual cost, everything. If you select internal project and click on continue, you don't see the budget and actual cost. The field is there in the object, but what I've done, I've just done a bit of playing with the page layouts. That's what we have done. So I'm not creating a separate kind of a record or something, but only making it convenient for the end user. So end user feels that he is actually, accessing a different set of different object altogether because the fields have changed on the page layout. But actually the information is going and getting stored in the same project object. Got it? Let me know if anyone has any question or doubt here.